So just to finish off, we're going to make a quick visualization of our door buzzer case and make it look a little bit 3D. So we've got something to add to our portfolio, so it might look quite nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each of my bits of my case, and I'm just going to spread them out a little bit. So let's move the edge over to the right a little bit, and the top of the case, we'll move that down a little bit. So we've got some separation between the three parts. Having done that, I'm now going to select all three parts. So that's a click on the first one, hold down Shift on your keyboard, and then select the other two. That selects all three parts of my case. Now the first thing I might like to do is add a little bit of colour. So I'm going to come up to here, and I'm going to hold down, and I'm going to choose a colour for my case. Now I think I'm going to go for a red colour. So I'll go for this red over here, I think. Select that, and that's my case now coloured red. The next thing to do is, because I'm going to use sort of clear plastic, semi-transparent plastic, I'm just going to come over to my transparency setting here, which you should find, there's loads of options over on the right hand side here. Somewhere you should see the word transparency, which you can click, and then over where it says opacity, we get to alter our opacity. So I'm just going to change my opacity to 80%, which would imply that about 20% of light can get through my object. Just click off that, and there, these are now slightly transparent. You can see that the grid is visible in the background. The last thing to do is to apply a 3D effect. So again, select all three, and now I'm going to come up to my effects menu up in the top here, come down to 3D, and then click on extrude and bevel. That's going to bring up this option box here. Now in order to be able to see what I'm doing, the first thing to do is to click the preview button or checkbox down at the bottom left there, and that will then preview what my 3D effect is going to look like on my artboard. We can see straight away that this is way too thick. We're going to be using 3mm acrylic for our cases, so that's much too thick. So I'm just going to drop down my extrude depth here, and I'm going to choose 20 points. Now this isn't exact, and it doesn't have to be, because this is just a visualization. It's not going to be used for any sort of manufacturing. Just click off, and we can see that that's now extruded that to a depth of 20 points, which looks a lot nicer. There's some other options that you can play around with here, so you can have a go with changing the position that you're looking at. You can have a go at altering the angles here, moving around by clicking and holding here to give yourself a different 3D representations. It really is completely up to you what options you choose here. And if you come down to more options down here, there are some extra stuff you can do with lights. So for instance, you can add a new light in here to try and alter the shading a little bit. I'm just going to delete that. You can change your light intensities and things like that. So have a play around with the settings until you get a visualization that you think looks nice, and then you can click the OK. And that's our 3D representation finished. I'd now want to save this as a JPEG or as a PNG by coming up to the File and Export options.